Greetings, Ranger fans! Jake here for another edition of Database Rangers Power Reviews, where I'm doing live commentary of my classic Database Rangers Power Reviews episodes, looking back on classic episodes of the Neo Saban era of Power Rangers at this time, as we have now begun our journey through Power Rangers Megaforce, which is quite a trip. We'll be doing these every Friday for 100 straight weeks as we count down to the final episode of Database Rangers Power Reviews, which will be the 100th episode premiering next year. So welcome to all of you who are already in the chat. Good to see you there, Scott, Dan, Sean, Ty, Chris, and Jenny. Great to see all of you. Happy Friday to everyone. I hope it has been a happy Friday for everyone. I hope that everyone had a good holiday last weekend with Passover and Easter, and I've been working hard on episode 93 of Power Reviews, which will hopefully, knock on wood, cross fingers, be premiering by the end of this month. So that's as I've been enjoying my spring break, and it has been flying by way too fast. I made some really good progress yesterday and today. But there's still a lot of work left to be done. Fortunately, I still have a few weeks left to accomplish that. The biggest thing is just making sure I can get the last few pickup shots. But fortunately, all parties involved are either fully vaccinated or in the process of getting vaccinated this week or next week. So everybody's starting to have accessibility again as far as my actors go. So that's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to doing a lot of filming this summer. With regards to earlier today, we got news through the Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest on YouTube. For any of you who didn't check it out, they had their own little Power Rangers panel right smack in the middle of the online event. There were some trivia questions, which was fun. And they did do a few announcements, specifically the Lightning Collection. They're going to be releasing 4 new metallic armor figures, so the rest of the core team besides Kat, which means we're finally getting Aisha, as well as Billy with no glasses, and Jason, and Rocky and Adam as red and black. Along with that, we're also getting, surprisingly, the Tyrannosaurus Sentry from the Boom Studios comic, which looks great, but sadly does not come with the Eugene Skullovich head, so that's a little disappointing. I was really hoping for that skull head on that one. And there was a little pre-recorded reveal video introducing fans to our new Gold Ranger, who will be premiering at some point later this season, I'm sure. And he will be our first ever Black Sixth Ranger, which we've never had before. And it's great that every new Power Rangers season, it feels like we're finding new forms of representation. First ever female Green Ranger, first ever Hawaiian Power Ranger. Last year was the first ever Indian Power Ranger. So it's always great that more and more people have the opportunity to see their background and their culture and their ethnicities represented within the Power Rangers teams in different spots throughout. And if anyone is complaining about anything like that, they clearly have not been tracking the series for all this time. And it's honestly really overdue, considering that at this point I realized that we've had 3 different blonde white alien guys as Sixth Rangers and a giant blue dog. So the fact that we actually have Black Sixth Ranger for the first time is quite is long overdue, and it's good to see. I'm glad that people get to see that representation. So exciting stuff. Yes, Jordan Fights is the actor's name. And his character is apparently going to be called Ion, which I think heavily plays into the theory that he will be arriving from RAFCON is my current theory. That's my expectation. So we'll see if that ends up playing out in the series itself, and when we get to meet that character. So I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, a lot of people haven't been able to really talk about it, even though we've seen leaks of casting information prior to this. This was just the formal announcement today. Now, with all that said, I think it's about time we dive into our commentary of the 21st episode of Database Rangers Power Reviews, where we review the second episode of Power Rangers Megaforce. He blinded me with science. And go.
Previously on Power Review.
There we go.
The doctor has modified our camcorder with a ton of new bells and whistles.
Oh, the squee. Oh, and I realized I forgot to do it. How could I forget? How could I forget? Wait one moment. I shall pause this because this is always important, and I shouldn't have started without doing it first, especially after we just had our discussion about representation. Sorry. Jump the gun. We need to say our 3 phrases. Dropping right out of my head, so let's not forget them. 3 phrases that we should each consider equally non-controversial. Number 1. Say it with me, chat. Black Lives Matter. Number 2. Say it with me, chat. Fascism is bad. And number 3. Say it with me, chat. Superheroes are fun. And now that I have gotten that out of the way, which should all be taken as a matter of course and all things that we can equally agree upon, now I will just pop this back over to the very beginning real quick. And back to, from the top, the 21st episode of Database Rangers Power Reviews.
Previously,
there we go.
Power Review. The good doctor has modified our camcorder.
I'm sure some of you were thinking I forgot entirely. It was in my head too.
Team up and do joint reviews from here on out. Bring the squee over to the Costner and housewarming party.
And slowly but surely, the previously on segments are becoming more and more involved.
Database Rangers Power Review.
It's gotten so difficult to squeeze everything into the Power Reviews recaps at the beginning of each episode now. There's just so much to cover. The point of entry has become increasingly difficult for the show.
It's time for the show.
I
Now you want my input?
I love
Of course.
Kay's indignity at the beginning of this episode.
Look, I told you before, one thing led to another, and it just kind of happened.
This is
I mean it. The squee is pretty much automated now. The episode as soon as it registered is done.
Busy.
that's interesting. Now we've started setting that up, that the squee is starting to automate the episodes, which makes everything
Your gratitude is acknowledged.
run so much. It helps to integrate the reviews into the story all that much better when the reviews are just starting to just happen. I also forgot just how long we kept up the note cards bit.
Technically correct assessment, but if I could add a few quick points. Thanks. The premiere of Megaforce was also largely an homage to the original premiere of Megaforce and Power Rangers. So this second episode
It feels like these characters have evolved so much since these days.
really define their identity and set our expectations for the season.
We haven't really had a chance to enjoy the banter between Database and Dr. K in so many episodes now. So it's really fun looking back on this and seeing that again.
20 years ago. Again, 20
I love-
years ago.
I love that I'm totally calling out how they're just totally ignoring how aliens have been attacking Earth for 20 years, despite this being the 20th anniversary.
Is unable to concentrate, though, as his mind drifts away to
And of course, this.
daydream,
The-
flashback,
Oh man, this sequence.
Mr. Burley's supremely disturbing hidden fantasy.
This
Seriously, I have no
this
idea
sequence
what
is
the
so
episode is.
strange.
Ignoring narrative ambiguities, the scene apparently intends to establish.
This is really when the show started to. Where we're starting to see little hints of the show kind of going off the rails in some weird ways.
Let's refer to him as Megaforce Red. This distraction is short-lived, however, as their spontaneous
Oh, spontaneous scholastic reviews. I don't really do spontaneous scholastic reviews with my students. With the whole, remote learning, I try to give them as much prep as possible because I know that it's a difficult situation to navigate when, in terms of everyone being on the same page and prepared. I don't know if I've ever actually done a pop quiz of anything graded, like maybe a surprise practice, but never something that was graded like a pop quiz. But part of that is just because quizzes take a while to put together. So and if I were to if I my students are surprised when I give them quizzes after giving them a 2 weeks head start to let them know it's coming. So it feels like doing a surprise quiz just happens by virtue of them not paying attention sometimes. Also, UFO is a great name, and it's hilarious. Oh, this is so awkward.
What's the purpose of keeping their identity a secret?
Well, it's a popular Western superhero trope, largely used to protect their friends and family.
But their enemies already know their identity.
Yeah.
Look, if anything, this ignorance places their acquaintances in greater danger.
This is always so awkward.
Normal lives, both during and after their tenure as Rangers.
So they're valuing mundane social mores more than the fate of the world?
I wouldn't say that.
Only a little bit. Only a little bit.
This is exactly why being a Ranger Series operator should never be reduced to an extracurricular activity.
Let's return to their awkward conversation.
I love that. Of course, that's how Dr. K would feel about this whole concept.
After this cute bit of banter, the two walk through the park with Gia entrusting Jake.
With them being like covert operators during. I mean, they do have the term covert operators in RPM. And that does fit a little bit better in Beast Morphers, which she is somewhat familiar with.
Okay, definitely could have chosen her words better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole sequence is awkwardly contrived. Like, I don't know about you, but I've never, tried to put my arms around somebody to get at something in a backpack that they're holding. I would ask them to turn around, or I would go around behind them. Like, this seems like a really ineffective way to remove something from a bag. I feel bad about making that joke, but I feel also like there's no way I could have avoided that joke at the same time.
I think this extended theme is actually much better than
it is a little strange that we never really got more from this background theme. But I'm also fairly certain that this is probably getting me flags on this stream.
So they contact Troy, who looks like he's driving down that same path from earlier.
Yeah, Megaforce was very rushed in many regards. Why didn't they drop the captives in the ocean? I forget exactly what they're using the captives for, anyway. They wanted them for science. It's so strange that we get this setup with Mr. Burley, and you can see he has that logo from the mutants later on in the season, the Toxic Mutants. He has that little cryptid logo, and yet it amounts to nothing. There's so many little elements of Megaforce that just didn't really amount to anything, and it's really sad.
He turns around to tell Noah about the flying saucer, but the Blue Ranger has already solved his Rubik's Cube and hightailed it out of there.
Megaforce Red arrives at the battle first, however,
okay, I'm going to say a quick thing about Rubik's Cubes. If you know how to solve them, you can solve them really fast. I was once working a job where I was selling patio furniture for a day, or no, not patio. I was selling patio enclosures for a day, like actual patios, basically. The walls that go around patios. I was at a trade show. This was a job I had for a day because I was looking for any work I could get. And there was this kid just standing over at the next booth over in this big trade show hall who just had a pair of Rubik's Cubes. And he was just solving them each one-handed over and over and over again, just without even looking at them. And it had me mesmerized the entire day. If you can get good with Rubik's Cubes, it could be very impressive.
Freakishly large eye syndrome has officially reached its logical conclusion. I will not be sleeping tonight.
Oh, the Zombats. But yeah, freakishly large eye syndrome is another fun bit that I'm kind of glad that I got to work into some of the more recent deep rapid run-throughs, specifically when running through Lost Signal with Vampira and her evil eyes. It's been very fun.
I'm going to be severely disappointed. Nothing, just inevitable reference time. And yes, I do listen to Dan's Goku rants.
Oh, wow. That takes me back. I forgot that I had a Dan's Goku rants reference. Man, that's a little dated now. Oh, that's awkward. That bit of transformation is so awkward with the context between Jake and Gia, and made even more awkward by the fact that those two characters were siblings in the actual Sentai. The Flying Heads gimmick was definitely interesting, but also very odd. And it looked very odd.
What did we think of it? Well, in many ways, this is a definite improvement.
I love the synchronized hand motions whenever I can find ways to work them in.
Which was something of a concern after that first episode. We also
But yeah,
got to see some nice characters.
Scott, it is weird that they did have Ernie and Burley in there and just never really did much with them. I mean, they were the obligatory comic relief, really, but they weren't really used that way, and they were never partnered up, which was rather peculiar. I think they're pretty much the only example of a comic relief duo that wasn't actually a duo, which is peculiar.
However, by the same token, we have very little understanding of the Rangers not focused on here. The early scenes of Megaforce Red bordered on incoherency, and Megaforce Pink was completely absent before being summoned to battle, despite the fact that she had previously been shown as enrolled in the same classes as her peers.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
there's so much strangeness with Megaforce, and we hadn't really started to pick up on it at this stage. This was still, only the second episode, and this was Megaforce starting on establishing itself.
Unlike with Samurai, their lesson on teamwork actually tied into the plot of the episode.
Oh man, actually praising Megaforce in comparison to Samurai, which is something that I did a fair bit with this season. Oh, I was so naive there.
Unfortunately, this, along with the extended Zord introduction, comes at the expense of several minor story elements.
This is, and this is just like, oh, there's promise here. Oh man.
You can be quiet.
Okay, figures out the power issue. You guys make sure to join us next time.
This is just a nice little setup for the next thing that happens.
Going viral. Till then.
Ooh.
Perfect.
Till then. Farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.
And of course, Database can't actually see anything because we just switched to night vision, which we had already established as being a thing that the Squee can do, which is fun. All right, no going viral quite yet, as fun as it would be for some of these videos to do so. But yeah, obviously, in terms of plots, this one is really more of a follow-up to the 20th episode. And the one bit that is actually moving the story forward is that little tease at the end, which doesn't play out in quite the way you'd think. It feels like a little bit just like it's, a wacky stinger. But this ends up paying off as far as the whole guy moves in story arc. Finally really kicking that off. And inadvertently, because this was years before it happened, setting things up so that I could later introduce Guy's new apartment in episode 61. When we get to be like, or no, yeah, it was episode 61 when we introduced Guy's new apartment. The idea was that it got remodeled after the fire caused by the events in this episode. And then he somehow has a skylight, which makes no sense because it's a basement level apartment. But somehow, after the fire caused by these events, he's able to get it remodeled with a skylight, which makes me feel very bad for whoever was living above him. So there we go. That was the 21st episode of Power Reviews. Few little fun UFO gags. The beginning of the very dicey portrayal of the relationship between Jake and Gia, which, and my naivete thinking, oh, these things will get paid off later, which that did not pay. That did not age well. And then obviously there was also, the references to Dan's Toku rants, which, sadly disbanded for various interpersonal reasons years ago. Although that was from back before Seamus and I even started writing together, so that dates things back pretty far. But I think we were sort of exchanging references at the time, which was fun. Basement level apartment in the sky. Yeah, because you can't tell in these early episodes really that it's a basement level apartment, but later you do see the stairs to the outside, and that starts to establish, oh wait, this is a basement level apartment. And we've since gotten even more information about the origin of this apartment. And it's so everything about this apartment building is ridiculous. And it became just so, integral to the setting for so long that a lot of things had to be worked in. So this apartment building is basically just like this crazy nexus of nonsense. Yeah, no. I'm gonna say a no to that one. But yeah, I do miss a lot of the banter back and forth with Database and Dr. K, especially now that the characters are so completely separated in the main series at the stage where we are right now in the story. Because I felt like we really built up a great dynamic between those two during the early episodes, and I'm hoping that bond, still carries through even in the later episodes. Obviously, they haven't seen each other since episode 89 now, with them parting ways with Database promising to come back, and obviously that's a bit of a heart wrencher right now. But I do look forward to unveiling more of that storyline as it goes through. And what's the name of the city that the apartment building is in? I have not at any point revealed the name of the town where Database Rangers Power Reviews takes place. And I've always felt like it hasn't necessarily needed a name. Because I go back and forth sometimes. Part of me wants to give it a real life location. Part of me wants to give it its own fake location that's referenced to something. Because in terms of where it is, there's certain things that just kind of make sense. And I'll put it this way. It is in a location that does sort of have a parallel location. I've never really confirmed that, but it does have a parallel location, based off of some of the dimension hopping that has occurred within the series. Hey, MJ. So I guess RJ is down for the night. I believe now. But yeah, there's still there are a few things that I don't know if they necessarily need to be said, but we have had some dimension sliding, and there's going to be a little bit more before the series is done. Only a little bit. I look forward to making it to the conclusion of the series. It has been such a long road, and it's so strange thinking about how much has happened in life since then. Parenthood, marriage, engagement, career, everything has kind of happened in my life during the course of this series, so it's going to be very interesting to see, where life goes when the series does eventually reach its final conclusion. I don't know if there are any other questions from the chat. I will say that one nice comment I got the other day was that somebody was very happy to see that I was doing the new the deeper looks and rapid run-throughs, because they enjoyed the humor of Power Reviews and the style of review that Power Reviews was, and they didn't feel like they were getting that from the live streams. So I'm glad that it's connecting with viewers in that way, and I'm hoping that the deeper looks and rapid run-throughs are connecting with people moving forward, and that they continue to bring in new people to our audience. And I do need to figure out how I want to manage things during the hiatus. I know at the very least, I'm not going to be doing a deeper look / rapid run through during the last weekend of April after I do the last of those first 8 episodes of Dino Fury. I'm definitely taking that next weekend off to work on finishing up episode 93 as best I can. But I am currently weighing the options of doing those maybe a little bit more sporadically over the break, possibly by request. So I'll need to sort of weigh out how I'm planning on doing that. I think I might reach out to my patrons and try to finally give them a few rewards after having let my Patreon languish for so long. I truly appreciate the support of my patrons who have stuck with me despite me completely dropping the ball for years on actually maintaining that and not providing the rewards that were initially set out years ago. Hopefully, this year I might be able to finally fix that. We'll see how the summer goes, and how things go once 93 is out, and I'm getting things going on 94, and I shift over into working part-time as I'm taking care of RJ at home more often. So there's a lot of stuff that sort of needs to be sorted out over the coming months. And I'm hoping that it will mean good things for you guys, who for all you Ranger fans who have been following us for so long. Welcome, Bite and Bart. Sorry that you missed so much of the stream. Yes, we are just wrapping things up. And Ty, I'm glad to hear that you've been enjoying those videos. So I think now's a good time to say goodnight. I look forward to seeing all of you again next Friday when we tackle episode 22. And I hope that you tune in on Sunday morning when we do the posting of the rapid run-throughs and the deeper look of Dino Fury episode 7. But before we leave, we'll do our 3 more of our equally non-controversial phrases that we should all be able to agree are just taken as a matter of course these days. Number 1, say with me, chat, love is love. Number 2, say with me, chat, trans rights are human rights. And number 3, say with me, chat, robots are cool. And I know that we'll be getting to Robo Knight sooner rather than later, so in the meantime, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Have a lovely evening. I look forward to checking out the next episode of Power Rangers Dino Fury. And until next time, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.